At 2 something, I get a call from my son. Hey, Dad. I'm like, what? He goes, Dad. I'm like, what? And he does that a lot, and sometimes because he's just messing around. And he goes, no, I'm serious this time. I said, okay, what? Because there's a shooter at my school, and I hear bullets. I'm like, where are you? He's like, well, I'm running. He goes, but I can't find Jamie. I'm looking for Jamie. I said, I'll worry about Jamie. You keep running. The bullets he was hearing was the shooter on the 3rd floor. He was probably hearing the bullets that shot and killed his sister. He kept running. But while he's running, he keeps calling me panicking, worried about his sister. Because they were typical siblings. They would argue, but they loved each other, and he watched her like a hawk. And he was more concerned about not being able to find her than getting himself off that campus. So my wife and I are in 2 cars. They're telling all the parents to go to the Marriott Hotel for news. My wife and I decide, you know what? My daughter's not going to get off the bus at the Marriott Hotel. We would have hurt her by now. We're going to the hospital. So we got in our cars and we met at the hospital. No sign of her at the hospital. We were there for about an hour and a half. They're reaching out to the other hospitals for us. No sign of her at the hospital. The whole time we're there, I have several friends with Coral Springs Police, one of whom was one of the 3 Coral Springs SWAT officers who actually ran into the building. One of my best friends, actually. And so I'm in constant communication with them as well. And they hadn't seen her. When we left the hospital around 4:15, 4:30, I called him and I'm like, she's not in the hospital either. I said, I don't know where she is. And he said, you want me to go back to the school? And I said, yes. So he went back to look at victims, and he found my daughter. We were at North Broward Hospital in Sample. My wife and I are in the car driving back, following each other. I'm behind her. We're on Powerline Road, getting close to turning onto the Sawgrass. And he calls me, and he goes, meet me at the Marriott. And I said, why? And he goes, just meet me at the Marriott. And I said, do you know something? He goes, just meet me there. I said, Scott, I've known you long enough. I said, don't do this. And he says, she's gone. And he broke down crying. And I broke down crying as I'm driving. Now you have my wife in the car ahead of me who sees this in her rear view mirror as we're turning onto the Sawgrass, and says, what's going on? And I said, nothing. We're going to meet Scott at the Marriott. I don't want to get her upset because she's driving too. And she's like, no, I can see something's going on. What's up? Don't worry about it. I said, there's nothing up. We're just talking. We'll meet at the Marriott. She goes, tell me what's going on. So now we're on the Sawgrass. We're getting ready to turn onto University. And I said, pull over. And it's on the side of the road. I told my wife that my daughter was dead. Yeah. So now we're in 2 separate cars. And I just said to my wife, just leave the car here. I don't care. Just leave it. We'll get in one car and we'll drive together. You're not thinking rationally at that point. She's like, no, we can't leave a car here. I'm like, who cares? No, we can't. I didn't want her driving. But like my daughter, my wife can be pretty tough. And I figured better to let her do it this way. I'm right behind her. So we got in our 2 cars, and rather than driving to the Marriott, we drove home. There was no need for us to go to the Marriott at this point. And my son, who was with my in-laws, trying to get to the Marriott to meet us. We called them and said, just turn around and meet us at home. And as we were pulling into the driveway, they were pulling in the driveway, and it was in the driveway where we delivered the news to them. Now we're home. Friends, family are coming over. We're trying to keep the media away. Jamie's dance sisters just now come marching over the house. And they're hysterical. I've watched these kids grow up. They're not supposed to have to deal with this. And they're all wearing orange ribbons. Jamie's favorite color was orange. And before they came over, they all made orange ribbons to wear. But that was February 14th. It was a day where we dealt with trauma we're not supposed to deal with, where my wife and I lost one of our two children, where my son had to come to grips with the fact that he is now an only child, will never be an uncle. All of these things. And where I had to start thinking about how I bury my kid.